Oshkosh Media is government programming on GovTV, community programming on Life TV, and community radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9.
Welcome to the City Manager's Report. The City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and municipal news, and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. Your hosts, Emily Springstroh of Oshkosh Media and City Manager Mark Rohloff.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on GovTV for your City Manager's Report, your source for the latest and greatest news and updates here in the City of Oshkosh, as well as an upcoming agenda, a rundown of some of the highlights for the next council meeting. I'm your host, Emily Springstroh, joined by our City Manager, Mark Rohloff, and we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the hot topics for the second half of today's show. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to go ahead and look at some of the hot topics. Now, I've already messed that up because we have a different show planned today, Mark. So
yeah, we sure do.
And as you can tell, we have a different setup today as well.
Yeah,
we're a little farther apart.
We're keeping our distance and everything as we should, as it's all recommended. And we're going to talk about the agenda for March 24th first.
Yes.
Just want to briefly run through some things, but obviously people are interested in what's going on with city operations relative to our response to the coronavirus emergency. So we'll do that after we talk about agenda. So
yes.
Let's get rolling, huh?
Thanks for getting it straight there, Mark. Yeah, let's get rolling. We're going to talk about the agenda here, and I guess first off, you want to just mention how it's a lot on this agenda, just with in the midst of all this happening.
Right. You know, we try to make sure, you know, our priority is continuity of government after we first take care of protecting health and safety. Mm-hmm. But for continuity of government, the show must go on, and council needs to help us with legislative actions, not just for immediate things, but for things down the road that we have to prepare for. So as part of that, public comment's going to be a little different. In fact, you know, we obviously, because for a variety of health and safety reasons, we want to discourage people from coming, but at the same time, we have to balance that with the need and the desire for the public to want to provide input.
Right.
So what we're going to be doing is there won't be any general public comment for non-agenda items at the meeting as long as the emergency runs. And if you have something for a public hearing, you have every right to come to the meeting. We're going to limit it to make sure that we don't have too many people in a room at the same time. But any public hearings we have, you're certainly welcome to provide input. Mm-hmm. But we're also going to give you the added benefit of writing in, and we will provide the information, your question, your testimony, or whatever, so that your information's entered into the public record.
Sure.
And for other agenda items that are not related to a public hearing, we're also going to give you the opportunity to mail it in, email it into us, and we have all that information that we'll be providing out there. There's my office has a special email address that it's citymgr@ci.oshkosh.wi.us, and you can email questions or comments, and we'll make sure the council gets it. We'll make sure it enters the public record. Mm-hmm. And so you'll see that on the agenda, and as things go on through the next month or two while the emergency's still in place.
Excellent. Well, thank you for a recap of that on what we can expect during the duration of this emergency period here. And let's go ahead and get down into the meat of the agenda here, Mark. So first we've got a public hearing, several items relating to the submittal of the City of Oshkosh CDBG 2020 to 2024 Consolidated Plan. And give us a little bit of a background on what exactly this is, the CDBG.
Sure. CDBG stands for the Community Development Block Grant Program. It's a federal grant program, and we get about $700,000 to $800,000 annually, mm-hmm. and we're required annually to do certain things, and every few years to do some other items related to impediments to fair housing and things like that. We had a meeting and a joint meeting with the council and some of the other boards a few weeks ago. The idea is that this kind of is a culmination. So we are going to have a public hearing. Quite honestly, we haven't had a lot of people in the past, but we're going to make it available. Mm-hmm. We have a deadline of May 1st, or I believe in one of those deadlines is actually April 13th. So this is our last opportunity to do it at a regular meeting. So that's why we're doing it at this time.
Yeah, so very important to have that on there. And good to see that. We'll have some good discussion at the meeting for that. Under consent agenda, we have the approval of the 2021-2022 strategic plan. Now, this is an important part of the operation of the City of Oshkosh government. So explain to us a little bit about why that's important.
We talk an awful lot about following our strategic plan, which is really a guide for us to what our priorities are and what things we want to do. And these items, quality of life, infrastructure, public health and safety, economic development, in strengthening neighborhoods, those are all guideposts for us to follow. The council asked that we get it done by the end of the first quarter. This is the last meeting of the first quarter, so this was scheduled to be on the agenda anyway. The reason we're doing it earlier is council recognizes that the strategic plan guides how our capital improvement program goes. We start capital improvement planning in April, and budget starts in June and July. So we want to have the departments ready to plan for the next year or two with these things in mind. And so we're following council's direction, and we got it done in time. It's ready for the council to consider. Council's had the copy of the plan for a couple weeks, so we're ready to go.
Awesome. And a lot of the things that you discussed at State of the City as well were tied to the strategic plan. And so a lot of the projects and things, like you said, drive what we do here at the City.
Yeah, and it's a really great point. You know, we're still showing, I think, the State of the City on playback. And yeah, we did cover a lot of those things, and they truly guide us, and we get great input from the public through our annual surveys. So this is taking that public input and putting it into action.
Wonderful. Moving down our list, Mark, we have several items here under consent agenda for the Oregon Street reconstruction, utilities, and patching. This is the award bid for that. Now, this is year 3 of this program. So tell us a little bit about how it's going and what we're looking at for this year.
Well, certainly a lot of people are familiar with it because of the inconvenience on Oregon Street. This is continuing it from 21st Street south to 28th Street. And then we cut over on West 28th Avenue over to the railroad tracks where there's a pump station upgrades. This is over $11.5 million based on the bid. So we have the bid award and then some other items related to this. But this is to keep the project going. We got some very competitive bids, so we're real excited that we got good bids. But it's keeping our capital improvement program moving forward, our street program moving forward. So this will keep us busy into the summer.
Yes, and we appreciate everyone's patience as the construction season starts looming ahead of us here too.
Absolutely.
Moving down here, Mark, we have the approval of an agreement for land sale at the Southwest Industrial Park. And this is for just over $1 million. So this is near the transload area in the Southwest Industrial Park.
It's near the transload facility, and it's because of the transload facility that we're able to sell this property. The property shown here in the star. It's being sold to a company that wanted to have a place near the transload facility. So it's because of that, and we're selling this for $1 million. So this is recouping investments that we've made in the industrial park already. So we're very excited that we're able to get this done, and we'll have another company in the Southwest Industrial Park, and it's a concrete company, so it'll actually be available for any construction that goes on in this area. So it's a very much an amenity that's a practical amenity for businesses, particularly those in the construction business. They'll haul the dry concrete in or the cement on the train and make the concrete there, and the concrete will ship out from this location.
Wow, really cool, and such a positive thing coming out of that transload area that we were celebrating just last summer, I believe. So a couple items down here, we've got the change order for additional demolition in the East 700 block of South Main Street. This is news. In the last couple of weeks here was the Lewix property purchased by the city. So tell us a little bit about the state of that.
At the previous council meeting, the council did approve a purchase of the Lewix properties. So now it's time to take down the Lewix property. We had already owned the old rec lanes, but their roofs were connected, and part of acquiring this was to tear it down together. And we're probably saving at least $75,000 by being able to tear it down together. So this change order just enables us to do that together. This shows you where the location is, and you see how things are connected over there, and to make sure it gets torn down safely, doing it together makes a lot of sense. So we waited for the building to get torn down until we knew we could acquire the Lewix property.
Excellent. So a really wonderful thing that we're able to save that much money on the demolition of this, and we look forward to the development that's going to take place in that area.
We're going to be putting out a request for proposal within the next month or two and see what ideas the private sector has to develop this site.
Wonderful. At the second to last page here of the agenda, we have the professional services approval for Northland Recreation for playground design and installation for the Congress Avenue tot lot. Tell us a little bit about this. This is a great example of the relationship between neighborhood associations.
Our Congress Avenue Neighborhood Association worked with our Parks Department, and one of the areas that's a central point for their neighborhood is the Congress Avenue Park there, and there's a tot lot there that has fallen on some very hard times. They worked with us to identify a tot lot set that met their needs, and we're going to be excited to get it installed in there for you. It's part of the Great Neighborhoods program, so that's where the funding comes from. It's $170,000. So we're going to be excited to see the new tot lot pop up this summer.
Wonderful. And then the last thing that we want to mention on the agenda, Mark, is just the special events. There's quite a long list here, and if you look at the dates, some of them are coming up pretty soon. In the midst of all of the emergency things that are happening right now in relation to COVID-19, why are there so many events on the agenda that are being approved here?
All of those organizations went to the trouble of applying for a special event permit, and even though we may have to cancel the event because we're unable to do it, or the event organizers themselves might decide, we felt it was appropriate to approve these special event permits. If things improve and the events can take place, then they know they're not waiting for city approval. It's there, they've got it in their pocket, and they're ready to go. But we're working closely with all the event organizers. They understand. That's just the nature of this right now, but we want to take that level of uncertainty out. If it later has to get canceled or postponed, we'll work with them on that as well. But we felt it was appropriate to get the approvals out.
Excellent. So that's going to cover it for this agenda here. And there is a note at the end of the agenda that encourages people to watch it live on Channel 10 in the city of Oshkosh, or live streamed on oshkoshmedia.org. So although we're discouraging people to attend the meeting, we do encourage people to tune in and watch live, right?
Oh, absolutely. Live, and there's so many other places through Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire Stick. There's so many different ways you can watch. And, we all know that we don't get a huge attendance, but we actually, we absolutely want the public to be aware of what's going on, and so we're going to make that available.
Wonderful. So once again, that meeting's on March 24th, 2020, 6 p.m., and we're going to go ahead, take a little break here, and then we're going to return with some key points and information relating to the COVID-19 situation here in the city of Oshkosh. We'll be right back on City Manager's Report.
The world is talking about coronavirus, but it's hard to know what to listen to. We have answers to your questions, like who's most at risk for coronavirus? People over 65, people with underlying medical conditions like heart disease, chronic lung disease, asthma, diabetes, people undergoing cancer treatment, and people with weakened immune systems. What should you do if you or a loved one is at a higher risk? Avoid close contact with people. Avoid crowds, stay at home if you can. Wash your hands frequently. Learn more ways to protect yourself and others at coronavirus.gov. Together, we can help stop the spread.
Welcome back to City Manager's Report. Thank you again for joining us. We're in the second half of the show here, and we want to cover some of the key things that are going on right here in the city of Oshkosh in relation to the COVID-19 outbreak and the state of emergency. So, Mark, we're going to go ahead and dive right into the list of topics that we have prepared here. City of Oshkosh declared an emergency on March 12th. So kind of give us the latest on the state of emergency here in Oshkosh, I guess.
Sure. We were having this show, taping the show on March 19th. So anything and everything we say is always subject to change. Information is only as good as the time in which it's given. So preface everything by saying at this time. But we did declare an emergency on March 12th. Our whole goal was to be proactive. We could see things unfolding, and even though nobody really has any direct experience in this type of emergency, the city actually held an emergency planning drill back in September, and it really helped us. I'll be honest with you, we made a lot of mistakes at that drill, and it was a great lesson for us. And so our ability to respond was improved by that. Council gave us direction to do that as part of our strategic plan. So I'm very proud of the fact that we were proactive about that. But we're taking this as it goes. But some of the things we've done so far is all of our city buildings are closed at this time, with the exception of City Hall, which is open only for voter registration and early voting. The state at this time has said the vote must go on, so we're going to do that. Additionally, the Go Transit office is also still open for business to get bus pass in that. Go Transit's still operating. We know that it's important for some people, not everybody, but for some people to get to work, to go shopping, to get basic essentials. So we're still doing voting, and of course, all emergency services, police, fire, and ambulance, and our utilities are still operating as normal.
Yes.
But if you want to pay your utility bill, we're closed for that. But we have all the ability for people to drop things off. We have a drop box right in front of City Hall. Yes. You can mail in your bills and things like that. So that's how the city offices are going.
Yes, and we're taking all necessary precautions too, as you saw in the video. City Hall is open for the voting, but it does not look anything like normal City Hall operations. Really, we've got any and all cleaning supplies out. Every station is being sanitized after every single use. And so all the precautions are being taken.
Yeah, every vote is counted and every vote after is cleaned afterwards because the next person coming along. Those are the precautions we're taking because we take it seriously. And we know, with the democratic process, we still have an obligation to move forward with. So as far as that April 7th election goes, if you're already registered to vote and you want to request an absentee ballot, there's that myvote.wi.gov. We encourage people and practically are begging you, please pursue the vote by mail option. We'll be here at City Hall if you want to come in and do early voting. But, obviously we're taking precautions for your safety and for our employees' safety. So if you can vote by mail, it's so much better. We are open for in-person registration and absentee voting, and there are the dates and times. Basically, we're running during the day, Monday through Friday, until April 3rd. April 3rd, we're open till 5 p.m. And then on Saturday, March 28th, we had great response at the last election. So 9 a.m. to noon, that Saturday voting is very popular. But again, try to mail in and call the clerk's office at 236-5011 if you have any questions. They're going to be more than happy to help you. We have extra people on duty to help with calls and questions and stuff like that. We're bringing back a lot of people. Our museum's closed, for example. We have some museum people helping at the clerk's office. We have other people, some of who used to work at the clerk's office, that have since transferred to other departments. They're making a homecoming, coming back to the clerk's office to help move things along, whether you're mailing it in or showing up. We prefer mail-in, as I said, but please, please, if you can, we want you to vote. But vote where you think is appropriate, but we'd prefer mail-in.
Definitely. And so we've talked about the city buildings, we've talked about Go Transit operating as usual, and then one other note about Go Transit is that warming shelter at the transfer station has been closed due to the social distancing guidelines.
Yeah, things were getting a little too cozy in there, and so we wanted just as a matter of safety. The weather is just okay right now. We still have a covered pavilion there, so you can still use the transit center, just the warming shelter, which is real popular when it's really cold, below zero type of thing. And fortunately, we're not in that situation.
And then also the all emergency services, no change. Obviously, those are going to continue, and utilities as well, all operating as normal. All these basic needs that our citizens have, they're still able to receive. Yeah,
the public still expects us to provide these basic services, and after health and safety, which is number one right now, prevention of spread of the virus, then it's keeping things going, keeping the light on, so to speak. And we owe that to the public, and the public expects that of us, and that's not an unreasonable expectation of the public.
Definitely. And then one other note about city services and programs is the meal program at the Oshkosh Senior Center. Operating on a delivery-only basis, so there's no more meals right now available at the Senior Center itself.
But you can get the delivery only, so
Yes.
that's we're happy to be doing that.
Definitely.
And speaking of meals,
Yes.
we got to do a shout out to all of our local restaurants and taverns. We know that they're taking a hit because of the limitations that they have. So I think it's important to let people know these are your neighbors, these are your friends, and we encourage everyone. If you want to dine and you're tired of cooking, again. Patronize those places that are still open for delivery and takeout orders. We encourage you to do that, and anything we can do to help keep things along. That's their paycheck. Now, everybody else has a regular paycheck. These folks, they live and breathe by the business we provide them. So let's show a little love to our businesses.
Yes, and the guys pulled up the Visit Oshkosh website as well. So if you're interested in seeing which establishments are still open and still doing delivery and takeout options, definitely visit visitoshkosh.com or go to their Facebook page. And there's a lot of great information out there right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely. So then we want to hit on a little bit of a PSA here about misinformation floating around about this whole situation. So tell us a little bit about some of the things that we need to be watching out for.
Well, I will suggest to everybody to be careful about accepting something as gospel truth without real verification. The old trust but verify. But make sure you're getting your information from a reliable source. And our website has a lot of links to information external to the city. But we, for example, we've got a link to the CDC website. You can look at it yourself, but if you want to just start local and then spread out from there, we're going to provide you local information about what we're doing, but we're also going to provide you information from the Center for Disease Control at the federal level. The Winnebago County Health Department is our local health department. They have information as well. And so we encourage you to look at the Winnebago County Health Department website. And at the city's website link that we've set up there, we have a link to the counties and to these other sources of information. This will avoid spreading any questionable information. And we know that people hear things, but until it gets confirmed, it's a little scary to rely on information that has since been debunked. And I fall victim to that too. You hear something and it's like, well, I trust this person. I'm friends with this person. But make sure you're getting it confirmed before you spread it around, because that can often lead to a lot of confusion, and it gets people a little on edge, and we don't want to do that. So there's good information there. It may not be as urgent, it may not be as current as what you heard from a friend of a friend of a friend, but when it's official, then you'll know it's legit.
You know it's legit.
And that's what we want to be able to do.
Yes, and then of course, like you mentioned, the Winnebago County Health Department, more information, all the links are on the city website, but there are a few phone numbers as well that you can call if you're looking for more information, and those are some of the hotlines. The COVID-19 hotline for the Winnebago County, Aurora Healthcare has one, and then another awesome resource that is kind of a best kept secret, I would say, is the United Way resource 211.
211. It is that simple. You just dial 211. It links you with somebody locally who's trained about the availability of our nonprofit organizations for help that you might need. And so, if you haven't reached out to a nonprofit before and you're a little uncertain, they can provide you such a wealth of resources that you might be interested in. We probably should be advertising that anyway, because it's available on a year-round basis. But they know that right now people are maybe looking at resources that they may never have done before. So 211 is a wonderful resource.
So if you need help, you don't know where to go, dial 211 and they'll lead you in the right direction, right?
And yes, absolutely. And there's the Winnebago County Health Department set up their own hotline, 232-3026, and then Aurora has theirs. That's an 800 type of number. And of course, the WinnebagoPublicHealth.org is their county website. So lots of information that you can look at, and this information is free. You shouldn't be paying for any information related to this, and these are great resources. And so we want to make sure that all of our partners' information is out there, because we're helping on the prevention, but we're not. We don't have the direct information. We're not keeping track of number of cases and things like that. Any information we have is secondary in that regard, and we use it so that our public safety people can be forewarned if somebody might be afflicted with the virus, that they are aware of those things. So we do that stuff for our safety people, but we're getting it secondary. So go to the initial source, and that's where we're going. So that's why I recommend it to other people.
And so all in all, our best, we urge you to just start at the city website. If you don't know where else to go to the city website. There's a link, and then all of the information is all a hub right there. So that is ci.oshkosh.wid.us/COVID-19. So anything else to note here, Mark, on the COVID information today?
Well, again, one of the things that we've learned is that a lot of this information changes daily. As an employer, we get different information daily, and we'll say one thing one day, and then the rules have changed. And so, and that's because everybody's responding in kind. So, so understand that some of this information will most likely change. Some people have, at this federal level, the spread of the virus is expected to increase. We're doing a lot of preparations, and I hope absolutely nothing happens. And if it does, that'll be good for all of us. But the whole idea, they've talked about the flattening of the curve. They want to prevent the peak of people getting afflicted with this virus. They want to keep the peak from getting too high, because if the peak gets too high, it's going to overwhelm our healthcare system, and then they can't help us. If we can manage that by prevention, it's going to help all of us, because if you do become ill, they're going to be able to address it if things get complicated. If you just get sick in your home, that's fine, but we still have to worry about everybody else. And I know some people are angry that different saloons are closed, and it's like, well, I'm young, I won't get sick. Well, you may not get ill as somebody else, say somebody who's elderly, but once you get sick, you become infected, and you can help spread the disease. We want to avoid people spreading and at least delay so that the spread of the virus slows down. And if we can slow it down, that'll be our best chance of success to minimize illness and possible death. So that's our role. Our role is to help with public safety.
So we encourage everyone to do your part as an individual to help the community as a whole here in Oshkosh. And I know we're good at doing that. The community here is great, and we're capable of coming together and helping each other out, right, Mark?
I absolutely believe that. So, thank everybody for your attention to this matter and following these things. And stay calm, and we'll be okay. With that, I have one more thing. This was not intended this way, but this is Emily's last show with us. She recently had a baby, and she's going to be staying home for a while. So we're going to miss her, but we can't do any hugs or any of that stuff.
No, we'll do virtual hugs.
We're going to have virtual hugs, and we the party we had planned had to get canceled because we've been so busy. But I want to thank you, Emily. How long has it been?
Almost 6 years now.
We've
been with Oshkosh Media.
You're the longest person on CMR as long as I've been doing the show in my 12 years. So thank you. We're going to miss you, but now you get to submit questions all the time.
Exactly. It's going to be Emily from Oshkosh has a question. So yeah, it's definitely been quite a ride, and it's been an absolute pleasure being able to co-host City Manager's Report with you, Mark. And so it's a bittersweet goodbye, but you won't see the last of me. I'll be around.
I figured that. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you so much to our viewers for tuning in, as always. So once again, the Common Council meeting is this Tuesday, March 24th at 6 p.m. As always, you can watch it live on GovTV and on our website, oshkoshmedia.org, or you can listen to it on the radio, Oshkosh FM, which is also online. Make sure you like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter for all of our community and government programming and updates in relations to the current events here as well, or check out our YouTube channel for replays of our programs. And also don't forget, questions for City Manager Mark Rohloff, send them to us on Twitter or Facebook, or email them to us, and he'll answer them on the next episode of City Manager's Report. So once again, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.